Hey everybody, welcome to Studio 64. My name's David. I've been searching the interzones for more science, space and tech news to share with you. And I came across this over at The Byte. Retired astronaut admits Boeing's Starliner has trapped crew in space. Of course they don't feel comfortable putting them in the vehicle. Well, of course they do. They don't, because they're bloody ridiculous, you know? So you've got to have either Elon on a Dragon capsule, or you're going to have to get a, oh God, you're going to have to get Pooty Poot Putin.
Вы меня рассмешили.
With a Soyuz capsule to bring him back, and NASA will have to, and Boeing will have to foot the bill to fly them back from Kazakhstan. It's the only way it's going to be done. This is insane. Airlock, yes. With two NASA astronauts still stranded in space for weeks, officials at the space agency have insisted that the troubled Boeing Starliner, plagued with technical issues, can take the two explorers back to Earth. Yeah. And I'm a women's underwear model. Sure. Believe you. Yeah. So why haven't they already? Because it's broken. An unnamed retired astronaut tells The Atlantic the obvious truth that NASA has been dancing around since the beginning of the space boondoggle. It's just too risky right now. What do you mean right now? Fascinating. Of course, they don't feel comfortable putting them in the vehicle. The retired astronaut told the magazine, referring to the Starliner, which transported the astronauts to the International Space Station, ISS, back in June, and is meant to return them back home. Otherwise, they would have put them in it already. It's a lemon. And see, this is what amazes me. Boeing gets $4.2 billion for this Starliner. Elon Musk gets $2.6 billion. And how many times has he been up there and back again? Not just on cargo runs, but delivering astronauts? Holy crap. Yes. Dear, oh dear. Absolutely incredible. Expect delays. Oh my God. No date has been set for a return trip, with the earliest date now pushed back to August. To explain the way of the delay, NASA officials have said repeatedly they want to test and troubleshoot the Starliner capsule before committing to a return trip. Here's a test for you, NASA and Boeing. Here's a test for you. Can it be remotely piloted? If it can be remotely piloted, send it back unmanned and we'll see what happens. The trouble started when helium leaks were discovered in Starliner prior to takeoff. That should have been your first clue. They opted to launch anyway, and its journey toward the ISS, it started experiencing additional leaks and malfunctioning thrusters. Boeing has gotten the brunt of the negative press, not least because the company's aeroplanes have been in the news for falling doors and other quality control issues, casting a pall over its space efforts as well. Yes. They're bloody planes, overflowing toilets and bloody everything else. And they're like, oh, who cares about that? Yeah, any passengers sitting near the exit row, can you please just hold the door shut for the duration of the flight? Goddamn ridiculous. But NASA shouldn't escape scrutiny, the Atlantic article argues, and the space agency has been less than forthcoming with issues surrounding the Starliner, which has been ill-fated from the start of its development, with various technical issues and aborted launches. Now, as usual, I'll leave the link to the main article below the video, so you can jump in, pop in, check out these embedded links, go for a bit of a deeper dive if you want. Makes for an interesting read, believe me. A boys' club, yes. For its part, NASA is eager to have a second option for ferrying astronauts into space beyond the more battle-tested Dragon capsule manufactured by SpaceX. But even setting aside the Starliner, NASA's relationship with SpaceX, headed by the mercurial tech billionaire Elon Musk, has its own fair share of headaches. While SpaceX missions into space have been successful, the commercial space outfit has seen death and injuries to personnel, not to mention Musk's purported drug use and inappropriate relations with women staff. See? This is what I'm talking about. In previous videos, prior to Elon Musk taking Twitter, you never heard any of this. You never heard any of these negative stories, did you? The moment Elon takes over Twitter, boom. Because The powers that be have lost 1/3 of their censorship platform. So you had Meta, Google combined with YouTube, and Twitter. You had those three propaganda prongs that you could get any message and drill it through people's faces. Anything you didn't want them to hear or see could be censored/deleted. Now they've lost it. They're upgrading the legacy media and Meta and Google/YouTube to crank up the censorship against Elon. It's fascinating, isn't it, to watch? Absolutely fascinating. If you go back and look at the news stories prior to the end of 2022 when Elon bought Twitter and turned it into X, very rarely was there a negative story. 90-odd% were all positive. It's fascinating, isn't it? It's kind of like Donald Trump prior to 2016. Everyone loved him. It's like prior to 2022. Everyone hated Vladimir Zelensky. All of a sudden, he's the new Winston Churchill. Fascinating. One of those female staff members, a flight attendant, sued Musk for exposing his penis to her, resulting in a $250,000 payout to quiet down the scandal. Seems to be a lot of that going on, isn't there? No, I shouldn't laugh. You know, you don't go around exposing yourself to women. Mate, this is the thing. If the guy did it, yeah, chop it off. But if he didn't do it, you know, how do we know she wasn't just after money? Interesting. Interesting indeed. Hang on a minute. One of those female staff members, a flight attendant, was a flight attendant on his private jet? Was a flight attendant... I didn't know they had flight attendants on SpaceX missions. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. There has been no answer from NASA on these issues, but with American dollars being used for these missions, there's no question that the space agency needs to be more transparent. Yeah. Look at this. Boeing Starliner is stuck at the ISS until at least August, NASA admits. Just pick a month, randomly. Get their calendar out and they're going, okay, which month? Just tell them the next one. We're sure we'll have it fixed by then. I don't think so. I'm worried about these two astronauts. You know, I really believe that. You notice the astronauts' names aren't mentioned in here. Sonny and Butch. Why aren't you mentioning their names? The bite. I've noticed that the last few stories have never mentioned their names. Is that because they're trying to be memory hold or something? For God's sake, Elon, get up there and bloody, it's going to get to the point where I don't think any of these astronauts stuck in space are going to care whether you expose your penis to them. Just get up there and bring them home. Dear Lord. Pooty Poots, get in there and bloody get a bloody, a Soyuz capsule to bring them home. Dear God, it's absolutely fascinating, isn't it? All right, well, my name is David. Thanks for joining me for another Studio 64 Science, Space and Tech News update. I shall see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you're up for it, drop a comment down below the video. I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care, and as I always say, if you can't be good at it. And as I also always say...
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?